Hi guys, this is Klazart bringing an audio commentary, and this time I'm commentating on Game 2 of the World Cyber Games Korean Qualifiers, round of 8, and this is between Bisu and Flash on Return of the King. As I was saying to you guys, this round is hugely important. You get through this round, you're in the semi-finals, which means 3 out of the 4 players there will go through to the next round. So that is absolutely huge because it gives you basically a 75% chance that you're going to go through, and that means that you only need to win one of your next 2 sets. Of course, they will be against top players, so it's not going to be easy, but getting to the round of 4 is a huge hurdle surpassed for both of these guys. We've got Flash at the bottom left-hand corner of the map in yellow at the 7 o'clock position, Bisu across the map in a cross-map position at the top right-hand corner in what looks like blue again at the 1 o'clock position. And this is a must-win game from Flash. I have to say, I felt his play was horribly lackluster on Destination. He played really defensively. I understand the Terran strategy of just trying to build up that unstoppable force and then pushing across the map and breaking your opponent's back in one fell swoop, and more often than not, when Flash doesn't get bogged down in the early game and doesn't get taken out in the early game, he manages to pull it off. But on this occasion he wasn't, because Bisu knew exactly what he was doing, and Bisu played quite brilliantly to counter it. Bisu now starting off his gateway, and I really feel that Flash needs to be a little bit more innovative and not do the same thing over and over again. I think it's a good strategy when it works, but apart from that, it's a repetitive strategy, and Flash does it just far too often for my liking. Flash looks like he's blocking off his ramp with a Rax and a supply depot. Bisu, meanwhile, has put his gateway down. Bisu, I think, just needs to keep doing more of the same. Flash now taking his refinery as well. Bisu just needs to do more of the same. He just needs to have faith in himself and keep playing StarCraft the way he likes to play, although I do feel that 12 Nexus versus Terran was a little bit risky in the previous game, which is what he went for, and luckily for him, Flash just didn't scout at all early enough. It'll be interesting to see what, at one point, Flash chooses to scout. He'd probably send his Rax building SCV out to scout. Meanwhile, Cybernetics score going down for Bisu as well. Return of the King is a map that slightly favors favors Terran players, and in that sense it kind of balances Destination out in the map pool. So on paper you would expect Flash to have a good chance, and yeah, Flash now sending that SCV out to scout, just lifting that Rax to allow it through. Meanwhile, Bisu has sent his probe out to scout. Both players, since the positions are cross map, I don't think either player is going to find their opponent sooner rather than later. Both players will have to scout 2 bases. Bisu again should arrive first, but Flash has blocked his ramp, so he should keep that probe out. Now Flash building a factory, and it'll be interesting to see if he goes for the same build he went in the last game, which was 1 factory into expansion. I'd love to have a look at his refiner right now to see, and both players SCV and probe now crossing paths. Flash is soon going to discover that Bisu is not at the 5 o'clock position, which will automatically tell him that Bisu is at the 1 o'clock. And Flash again mining gas with only the 1 SCV, so it looks like he will be looking to go for that 1 factory into expansion build, which I feel is a fairly kind of safe-ish build for Terran players. It's not putting yourself at risk to get your economy really ballooning early on. It's giving you a little bit of a defense in case the opponent comes after you, but at the same time it's not letting your opponent get a massive lead in terms of economy if they do choose to fast expand. It keeps you competitive in the game, but I just feel it's one of those really kind of safe builds. Flash trying to get that SCV in there. It is going to get in there and scout Bisu's base. That Dragoon not able to do enough damage to it. The Zealot, I feel that Bisu could have potentially blocked his ramp, but he had that Zealot positioned outside the ramp and wasn't able to get it there in time, and Flash is just circling around with that SCV in Bisu's base. Meanwhile, Flash has started up that command center yet again, so he's going for pretty much the same build that he went the last time around, but this time I feel his build will give him a little bit of an advantage over Bisu, who's going for a more standard build. We might see Bisu going for some sort of a tech rush here, because I don't see any signs of him expanding right now, and it'll be interesting to see what Bisu's next building is. That's going to be huge. He hasn't put a second gateway down, so I have a feeling that we might be seeing a Citadel go down for him, or potentially a robotics facility. We might be seeing, I guess, Reaver harass from Bisu, which again is pretty standard for Protoss players and can be effective, especially when a Terran player does fast expand or does expand. Bisu actually has gone for his expansion, so I thought he was gonna tech up, but he's actually put his expansion down now. Meanwhile, Engineering Bay going down for Flash, and he's going to be well prepared for anything Bisu throws at them. Bisu with just 1 Dragoon and Zealot now just hammering with Flash's supply depot. I'm sure he's aware of what Flash is doing. Flash has now got that siege tank out, and he will be able to push Bisu's units back with relative ease, only being forced to pull 1 SCV off the line to repair his supply depot. And you can see that look, Flash casually chewing gum, just chilling out, having some fun. Bisu seems to be a lot more intense and concentrating hard, which suggests to me that this means more to Bisu potentially than it does for Flash. Of course, Flash has already got a title this season under his belt. He's won the GOM TV Intel Classic, whereas Bisu has been unable to really make it to the finals of any tournament this season. Has underperformed for a player of his stature and caliber, and unfortunately has been a fading light for Protoss fans who have had very few beacons to illuminate the darkness that has descended upon their world. And you've got to feel sorry for the Protoss fans. I'm a Zerg fan, but I still like to see good competition. I don't like to watch Zerg versus Zerg all the time, and there's been a lot of Zerg versus Zerg this season. Now Flash getting ready to take his natural expo, putting a couple of turrets down as well, just in anticipation of Bisu trying anything sneaky. Flash is worried that Bisu might be rushing in with some DTs, and that's why he's just trying to put those turrets down, also potentially for a Reaver drop. Although I feel that the timing of this is more to thwart DTs than anything else. And Bisu is known famously for making use of those DTs. And I feel that Flash is probably a little bit ahead in this game right now. This is, remember, a must-win game for Flash. He really needs to take this game down and force us into a tiebreaker on Heartbreak Ridge, which I feel is a fairly balanced map for Protoss versus Terran. Anyway, Bisu looks like he's putting a second gateway down. He's got his robotics facility. He's got a Citadel right on Temple Archive. So Bisu will be going for the DT drop. Bisu going for the DT drop, but it's going to be a very slow DT drop unless he decides to go try and get Arbiters again, but I don't think he's got the build for that. If he was going to try and rush Arbiters, he really needed to go for that 12 Nexus again. So I think Bisu might be going for a DT drop again, and I think that if he does, it would be pretty disastrous, because Flash is already putting turrets up all over his base, and Bisu, yeah, the timing of his building suggests very much it's going to be a DT drop, and I don't think it's going to be successful, guys. I think Bisu's, again, DT drops are one of those builds that are a lot of fun if you pull them off right, and they can win the game for you in one fell swoop. But Flash has got his turrets well positioned. He's got siege tanks around those turrets, and I think Bisu is going to struggle. He's now building that observatory. It'll be interesting to see if he does indeed follow up with that DT drop. Flash, of course, doesn't have, and yeah, you can see the observer who's covering the game is pulling that mouse across Flash's command center, indicating that he doesn't have comsats because he hasn't built an academy, which of course restricts him in terms of his scouting information. And yeah, Bisu now loading up that shuttle with DTs. But again, Flash has got well-placed turrets around. He's got turrets placed around his factory. He's got turrets placed around his natural expo as well as his main. He's got enough siege tanks as well. He's got a couple of marines, and I think he's got enough. If Bisu can somehow manage to stay, there's just too many tanks in my opinion for Bisu to be able to even kill a turret. But if Bisu can somehow catch a turret that's undefended and take it down, then Flash will struggle from that point on. But Flash now getting that academy up as well. That shuttle just now heading towards Bisu, Flash's natural expo, Bisu's shuttle. But Flash is putting that academy down. He's probably going to have that academy complete and probably get those comp sets up pretty quickly as well. So I really don't see Bisu now coming in the shuttle. Flash is going to see this, and the problem for Bisu is he's going to struggle to find areas. And already one Dark Templar coming under heavy fire, almost getting taken down. Now coming in range of the second turret, and yeah, Flash has got pretty much full coverage of his base with those turrets. Bisu might be able to snipe a lone SCV or two building that supply depot and perhaps slow Flash down a smidgen, but really he's committed so many resources to the attack that he needs to do a lot more damage than that. That shuttle now coming under fire from wandering marines as well. Bisu just trying to find some sort of opening for attack, but Flash has too many units there, and really if you're going to go for a DT rush, commit to it. Don't do this half-assed, sorry for my language there and my anger at Bisu. I just feel disappointed in the way he's gone about his game this time around. If he was going to go for a DT rush, he shouldn't have put that expansion on. He should have gone straight for the damn DTs rather than going for the expansion, then the DTs, and just giving his opponent all the time in the world to get his defenses up. And now Flash has got a decent sized army, his defense is secure, he's got that academy up, and he's going to be able to push up and lock Bisu down in his base. Bisu putting another 4 or 5 gateways down, but it's going to be a while before they come into play. He's also taking that Island Expo at the 1 o'clock position. But again, I'm not sure if he's going to really be able to make it tell. Flash already with 4 factories up and running, 5th and 6th building, and now rushing in with those vultures trying to plant some spider mines down. Bisu of course does have that shuttle with the DTs in it, but Flash does have scans as well. Bisu drops the DTs, and he's trying to make Flash waste his scans. Flash bringing SCVs around as well to repair as well as build turrets and lay up siege outside Bisu's natural expo. And Bisu just doesn't have anything. Flash is just overwhelming here. Bisu with about 6 dragoons, and those dragoons, Bisu got a couple more dragoons coming up, but those dragoons are isolated, and Flash is going to divide Bisu's forces and pick them off one by one. Now Bisu's forces drop his DTs into the battle as well, closing in with the dragoons trying to focus on the siege tanks, but there's just far too many units for Flash, and Bisu's going to be forced back, and he loses all of his dragoons in the process with 2 dragoons left. Flash is probably going to close this game out right here, guys. He's probably not even going to need to set siege. He's just at A moving and land rolling Bisu's forces all over. And that's what happens when you go for kind of a DT build. You're going to be light on ground forces, and Flash has just macroed up from that fast expand, and Bisu missing a trick here. I'm just not Bisu GG's. I'm just not a fan of Bisu's strategy in this game at all. Nexus into DTs, I don't think it was a good transition, and Flash anticipated. In the last game, I think Bisu anticipated Flash's maneuvers really well. In this game, Flash anticipated Bisu, and you can see Bisu not happy about that, and so he shouldn't be. This is Klazart, guys. Thanks for listening.